Good morning, students. This is once again your economics teacher Lakshmi Vyas, and I'm here today to explain the chapter Theory of Consumer Behavior. This is the part 2 of this tutorial. We have already started this chapter in our first part. We have discussed some of the points, and today we will complete the chapter with the remaining. Let's recapitulate what we have done in the previous class. We have started our chapter with the concept of utility, and then under that the two approaches, cardinal and ordinal utility approach, was there. We have discussed cardinal approach for one commodity as well as for more than one commodity using the laws of diminishing marginal utility and law of equi-marginal utility respectively. Now, in this tutorial, we are going to discuss some of the important points of ordinal utility analysis. Let's see the area of discussion for the day. First of all, we'll discuss about ordinal utility analysis, what it is exactly. Then, under this, the most important topic will be indifference curve, which will be discussed with the help of indifference schedule. Then, indifference map will be discussed, and then we will go to the topic budget line. Using indifference curve and budget line, we will conclude our chapter with a long portion which is consumers equilibrium through ordinal approach. Yes, children, remember we have done consumers equilibrium through cardinal approach in our first part. If you have any doubt, you can go to that particular part, that particular video, and then clarify that. So today we will discuss about the consumer behavior and the equilibrium which is reached through ordinal approach of utility. Let's start our today's topic 1. Now, the first one is ordinal utility analysis. I hope you all remember the term utility. Utility means the want satisfying power of a commodity. Any commodity have a power to satisfy human wants, and this is the reason we purchase the commodity. So, utility can be of two approach. Number one is cardinal, another is ordinal. Cardinal means utility is measurable, given by Alfred Marshall. On the other hand, the ordinal approach says that utility is not measurable. Yes, satisfaction is not cardinally measurable. It is ordinal, that means only ranking can be done. Ordinal implies that consumer is capable of arranging the goods and services in order of preference. For example, suppose here you can see a picture which shows the human being is saying an apple gives me 10 units more utility than mango. So this kind of statement is not so acceptable. What we usually say is that I prefer apple to mango. We cannot measure the utility in terms of number according to ordinal utility analysis. So this is the concept that we will keep in our mind, and then using that we will discuss how a consumer can reach the equilibrium with this preference ordering and ordinal utility approach. So here we go with the very first subtopic of this, which is indifference curve. Yes, indifference curve. Indifferent means not different, equal. Now, in order to understand indifference curve, we have to first understand indifference schedule. You all know that schedule means table. Yes. For example, if an individual is consuming two commodities, since in order to keep the concept simple, we always assume two commodities. More than two can be done, but it cannot be depicted easily on graphs. So we use two dimension, x-axis and y-axis. So let us assume a consumer consuming food and clothes. The table is given over here. Then 1 unit of food and 10 units of cloth is giving a certain level of satisfaction. Then if the consumer wants to be on the same level of satisfaction and he is consuming more food, then the consumption of clothes should be decreased, correct? So consumption of food increases from 1 to 2. At the same time, clothing decreases from 10 to 7 units. Similarly, in order to get one more unit of food from 2 to 3 units, consumer is consuming now only 5 units of clothes. That means consumption of one commodity is increasing and the other is decreasing in order to be on the same level of satisfaction. Keeping the satisfaction level same, the two commodities which the consumer is consuming can have n number of combinations which give the same level of satisfaction. Now the table which shows this kind of relation between two goods with the same level of satisfaction is called indifference schedule. Similarly, when we put these points on graph paper, we will get a curve. So combinations A, B, C, D can be depicted on graph. And all those combinations will be joined and the locus of the curve will be indifference curve. So simply an indifference curve is a curve which shows various combinations of two goods which give equal level of satisfaction to the consumer. Whether the consumer is consuming 1 unit of food and 10 units of cloth or 2 units of food with 7 units of cloth, the satisfaction level is same. That means along the IC curve, at each and every point, the satisfaction level is same. Whether the consumption of one commodity is more or the other is less, that doesn't matter. What matters is same level of satisfaction. So this is also known as iso-utility curve. Iso means same, utility curve. Indifference curve or iso-utility curve is same. This topic is very important to understand. Now, when we are drawing this indifference curve, we assume some points. What are the assumptions? The very first assumption is rationality. That means the consumer is assumed to be rational. Means he is trying to attain the highest possible indifference curve so that the maximum level of satisfaction can be reached. The second one is ordinal utility. As I already told you, this utility concept is under ordinal utility analysis, not the cardinal one. That means utility cannot be measured. The third one is non-satiety. Non-satiety means the consumer has not yet reached the point of saturation for any commodity, which simply indicates more is better. Non-satiety means not yet fully satisfied. That means a combination with more quantity of any good will always be preferred than the lesser one. Then comes the fourth one, which is transitivity of choice. Transitivity means if a consumer prefers a combination A to B and B to C, then he must prefer the combination A to C as well. That means the decision of a consumer will follow the law of transitivity. After that, the last one is diminishing marginal rate of substitution. In order to understand this assumption, let us understand what is marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution means the rate at which consumer is willing to substitute one commodity for another commodity without changing the level of satisfaction. In our previous table, we have seen to get one additional unit of food, the consumer initially sacrificed 3 units of clothing. Then for the second one, in order to move from combination B to combination C, the consumer sacrificed 2 units of cloth. Then 1 unit of cloth. That means what? The rate at which the consumer is sacrificing the commodity for getting 1 extra unit of the other commodity is diminishing. And that is again the assumption of indifference curve. The slope of indifference curve is also this MRS. MRS means marginal rate of substitution between two commodities. So, in order to draw indifference curve, we must keep these assumptions in mind: rationality, ordinal utility, non-satiety, transitivity of choice, and diminishing marginal rate of substitution. After this, let's discuss indifference map. What is this indifference map? Indifference map means a group or a set of indifference curve where each one of this represents a certain level of satisfaction. For example, in the diagram given over here, we can see that for two commodities, food and clothing, we have drawn IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4. That means 4 different indifference curves. Each one of this indifference curve shows a particular different level of satisfaction. All the points on a particular indifference curve indicates different combination of food and clothes, which gives the same level of satisfaction. But different indifference curves shows different level of satisfaction. And this is again a property of IC, which we will discuss in our next part, that IC4 is giving the highest level of satisfaction. Then IC3, IC2 and IC1, among these 4, IC1 is giving the lowest level of satisfaction, which means higher indifference curve shows higher level of satisfaction. Simply what you need to do in indifference map is, indifference map's definition is only there in your syllabus. So indifference map means a group or a set of indifference curves where each one of them represents a given level of satisfaction. Now let's discuss the properties of indifference curve, and it is an important question for ISC as well. So do this part very well. Properties. Now the very first property of indifference curve is an indifference curve slopes downward from left to right. Here you can see 2 ICs in the diagram. Each one of them is downward sloping from left to right. Now why so? This is because when consumer consumes more unit of one commodity, he or she must consume other commodity lesser. Why? So that he can be on the same level of satisfaction. Now simply, in order to be on the same level of satisfaction, if I increase my consumption of commodity X, I have to decrease the consumption of commodity Y, so that the satisfaction level remains same. Now when two commodities or the two variables which we show on a graph are having negative relation, the curve is always downward sloping. I have already told you this in our previous chapters as well, that a curve will be downward sloping when the two variables measured on the axis have an inverse relation. Here also same, quantity of X and quantity of Y will have a negative relation, because if the consumer consumes more of X, he has to decrease the consumption of Y to be on the same level of satisfaction. So an indifference curve is downward sloping. The second important property is an IC is convex to the origin. Why? Convexity of indifference curve is because of the assumption of diminishing marginal rate of substitution, because that implies slope of IC must be decreasing from left to right. The slope, that means in the indifference curve first figure which we have shown, that the sacrifice of the consumer for one commodity in order to get the second commodity, each extra unit keeps on decreasing, and that decreasing MRS is responsible for convexity of this indifference curve. The third property is higher indifference curve yield higher level of satisfaction. That means what? An indifference curve which lies above and to the right side of another indifference curve gives a higher level of satisfaction than the lower one. Here in the picture as well, you can see two IC, indifference curve 1 and indifference curve 2. IC1 and IC2, the combination B will always be preferred than combination A, because at point B we see the quantity of X and Y, both the commodity is more than that of A. So a satisfaction level of the consumer at a higher indifference curve will always be more, and that is responsible for higher level of satisfaction for higher level of indifference curve. So higher IC indicates higher level of satisfaction. The last property which is given here is two indifference curves never intersect each other. It is a very important property of indifference curve because two ICs can lie very close to each other but they will never ever intersect. Now why so? This is because of different level of satisfaction at different ICs, and that is why two ICs can never intersect each other. If the two indifference curves intersect each other, this would imply a combination of two goods corresponding to the point of intersection, and that would give different level of satisfaction, which is absurd, and as a result two ICs can never intersect. Very simply we can understand, if suppose IC1 and IC2 will intersect at a particular point, then the point of intersection will lie on both the ICs, and point of intersection will have a certain level of satisfaction that cannot match with two different level of satisfaction, because two ICs must have different level of satisfaction, and that is why indifference curve never touch the axis. At the same time they never touch each other. So the concept of indifference curve is very important for this chapter. After completing this indifference curve concept, we are moving to the next subpart, which is budget line. Budget. The term budget is very common. Each individual have their own budget, government have their own budget. So consumer, in case of consumer, the concept of budget will be very, very important. As indifference curve shows the taste and preference of the consumer, and in order to find out what quantity of the two goods must be purchased, we must know how much expenditure the household wants to incur on these commodities, and what are the prices of the two commodities as well. And this information regarding the expenditure and the prices will help us to draw budget line. Whether indifference curve shows us the choice of the consumer, budget line shows what consumers can afford and can get. The want, which is shown by indifference curve, because the high level of satisfaction will always be the objective of the consumer to reach, but that satisfaction level can only be reached if the consumer's budget will allow that. So understanding the budget line is very important. A budget line shows various combinations of those two goods which can be purchased with the given income, that is the budget, and at the given prices of the two commodities. The price is given by the market, and income of the consumer is consumed to be constant for the time being, and then the different combination which the consumer can purchase is shown on the budget line. Here an example of budget line is given. You can see a table. That table shows the units of clothes and units of food which the consumer can purchase with the given budget. Here it is assumed that the entire income which the consumer is having is rupees 200. The price of per unit clothing is rupees 40, and price of per unit food is rupees 20. Now, if the consumer tries to spend the entire amount on consumption of clothing only, then the maximum amount unit of clothing can be purchased is 5 with 0 units of food, because 5 into 40 is 200. Secondly, if the consumer want to decrease the consumption of clothing, he can afford some units of food, like 4 units of clothing and 2 units of food can be purchased to spend rupees 200. Similarly, the consumption of food can be increased, and maximum the consumer can get 10 units of food if he spends the entire amount of rupees 200 on food. Then 10 units of food will be purchased with no units of clothing. So these are the various combinations of food and clothing: 5, 0, 4, 2, 3, 4, so 1, 8 and 0, 10. All these combinations are different combination which the consumer can afford with rupees 200, as the income, and rupees 40 and rupees 20 respectively the price of clothing and units per unit food. These are the informations given. When we put all these combinations on a graph paper, we will get a straight line curve. That straight line is budget line. The definition of budget line also says the same thing, that the budget line shows various combinations of two commodities that can be purchased with a given budget at given prices of the two commodities. After understanding the concept of budget line, we must know the properties of budget line as well. What are the property? The very first property is negatively sloped. Again, why? Same reason as we have given in the indifference curve. Budget line is also downward sloping, negatively sloped, because in order to purchase more of good X, the consumer must purchase less of good Y, because the total amount of money which he can spend is fixed. He can spend 200 rupees with more units of food only when he decreases the consumption of clothing, which you can see from the table as well. When he is increasing the consumption of food, he need to decrease the consumption of clothing to be on the same amount of budget level. So a budget line always shows inverse relation between the units of food and units of clothing which the consumer can afford with the given price and the amount of money which he is trying to spend. So it is negatively sloped line. And how will you calculate the slope? You can simply calculate the slope of budget line as the ratio of price of the two commodities. Suppose if is X and Y are the two commodities, then minus, which is I have already discussed, it is negatively sloped, minus price of X upon price of Y is the formula for budget line of negatively sloping budget line. The formula is minus Px by Py, the price ratio of two commodities. Then comes the third one. It is a straight line. Why budget line is not a curve like indifference curve? It is a straight line because we have already assumed the price of the two commodities given, means fixed in the market. So there are only two variables, which is units of X and units of Y. It's not quadratic in any sense. So budget line is a straight line. Suppose in terms of symbols, if you want to write a budget line, then it will be M, which is money income, equal to Px, which is price of X, into capital X, which is quantity of X, plus Py, price of Y, into quantity of Y. So M equal to Px into X plus Py into Y can be written as numerically, symbolically, a budget line example. So till now what we have discussed? We have discussed indifference curve and discussed the budget line as well. Using these two major concepts, we are going to discuss the last but very important topic for this chapter, which is consumer's equilibrium through ordinal utility approach. In cardinal approach, we have discussed that consumer will reach the equilibrium when price is equal to marginal utility of the commodity, P equal to MUX. That is the condition of consumer's equilibrium. But in ordinal approach, we have two different concepts, budget line and indifference curve. So a consumer will reach the equilibrium when he can maximize the total utility with given budget. That means given income and the prices of the two commodities which he is going to consume. Now we can understand this 6 marks long question with this diagram. If we combine the indifference curve and budget line on the same diagram, then consumer equilibrium can be reached. We know an indifference curve shows the constant utility from the two commodities, and a budget line shows various combinations which the consumer can afford with the given budget and the price of two goods. Now, utility maximization subject to budget constraint. means getting the highest possible indifference curve without going above the budget line. That means we need to reach the highest possible indifference curve with our budget keeping in mind. Now, in order to reach that, we must satisfy the two most important conditions for consumers' equilibrium. The very first is marginal rate of substitution must be equal to the price ratio of two goods. That means MRS between X and Y, the two goods, is equal to PX by PY, where X and Y are two commodities. This condition, which is called necessary condition, not sufficient condition, it is a necessary condition which simply saying that slope of indifference curve is equal to slope of budget line. We have already discussed the slope of indifference curve as MRS, and we have also discussed the slope of budget line as the price ratios of the two goods. So the point where MRS equal to price ratios, that is the slope of budget line equals to the slope of indifference curve, that point is consumer's equilibrium. This is called necessary condition. Sufficient condition is what? Sufficient condition shows at the point of equilibrium, indifference curve should be convex to the origin. That means MRS should be decreasing. We have discussed the reason behind the convexity is decreasing MRS. So marginal rate of substitution between the two commodities must be decreasing at that point. Now let's discuss this diagram. This diagram shows commodity X and commodity Y. That means units of food and units of clothing which the consumers can purchase. There is a budget line shown which is KL. The budget line KL is the budget of the given consumer, and IC1, IC2, IC3 are three different indifference curves. Among these points, the consumer can reach the equilibrium, where first talk about point D. Now, the consumer cannot purchase any combination like point D because that point is toward the right side of budget line. That means this is out of the consumer's reach. Because the income is given, the price levels are given, the budget is fixed, KL. So any combination outside the budget like point D in the figure is not reachable. So IC3 is excluded. Among IC1 and IC2, the consumer can afford many combinations. Let's talk about combination A. A is lying on IC1. He can afford it because the point A is inside the budget. So consumer can afford the combination A, but he is not spending the total income on it. So A is not equilibrium. Because A will give him the lesser utility than any other combination on the budget line. So on the budget line, we are having 2 points mentioned in the diagram, point B and point T. So consumer will purchase either B or T because both of them are lying on the budget. So he can afford both. Among B and T as well, point B is lying on IC1 and point T is lying on IC2. And we know that higher indifference curve means higher level of satisfaction. So combination T will give more satisfaction to the consumer than combination B because it is on the higher IC. So consumer's equilibrium combination of X and Y will be N units of food and M units of clothing, which is at point T. T is a point which is tangent. At point T, this budget line is tangent to the indifference curve IC2. So IC2 is the highest possible indifference curve, highest possible satisfaction level which the consumer can reach under this situation. So this is very important to note that there are some similarities between the two approaches of consumers analysis. However, the indifference curve technique is always superior to margin utility technique because it makes lesser assumptions as well as less restrictive assumption, and at the same time it is able to provide more general explanation of the effect of change in price of the commodity on its demand. Now, this is it for the chapter. Here you need to do this long question, how a consumer can reach the equilibrium through ordinal approach. All the notes are given to you all. You can go through that to complete learning of the answers. Thank you, children. Take care of yourself. Solve the quiz given with this video. And if you have any doubt, you can anytime mail me. I will answer your questions and try to clear all your doubts. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you once again.